Sup. The opinions and views expressed in this podcast are that of our own and Future Bachelor only, and not affiliated with any outside party or entity. This fun podcast may include some adult language.
Future Bachelor Podcast.
All right, yo, let's start the show, man. This is Future Bachelor. My name is Sai.
I'm Veronica.
And this is episode 117.
Hey.
Yeah. Welcome to the show. And we're going to get through this. Through this. I love that song. I don't know. I forgot what it was that over the last week I heard it. And I was like, this is going to start the show. And it's just, you know, it's a good message. I feel like we got to get through this, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. There's a lot of this to get through, you know? A lot of different elements of this, you know?
You know, that's why I like you, Veronica. You picked the one word out of that, like, you know, out of the four words of the song, and you made it bigger than I ever thought. There's a lot of this.
There's a lot of this.
That might be the episode title too. That's a good one. Yeah. So you know, it's another week. We deciding to still, you know, self quarantine, but I'm feeling a little itchy to get back to like recording like the good old days.
Together.
Yeah. I was debating on doing it this week, but I was like, you know, I'm gonna stay in my pajamas this week and do it remotely. But how are you, V? How's everything been going with you?
You know, I'm doing okay. Just, you know, cranking by. I feel like after last week's podcast, I feel like I did a lot of things. A lot of things happened.
Yeah, I mean, last week's episode was a pretty great episode. I mean, we can talk about the events that transpired after last week's episode later on in today's show, but yeah, what else? What'd you get into over like the weekend and stuff?
Yeah, so Thursday became like a pretty busy day, like, you know, the day that our podcast comes out. Thursday became like a pretty busy day for me. Like my one friend group from college, we did like a Zoom call to catch up. And that was a lot of fun. We call ourselves like the Gucci Gang. And so that was a ton of fun. And then after that, I went to a midnight march protest. So that
PG
was.
and Kyle said they were at the same one that you were at. Like,
yeah,
it was like really late at night. Yeah, well, obviously at midnight.
Indeed, it was a lot of fun. Which it feels weird to say that about a podcast, about a protest, but like,
hey, I'd rather a protest be fun than anything else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but like it was, I mean, because there was music, they had drummers. It just was, I think it was just like a cool thing to be a part of at that time of night. And then this past weekend, we did like a little baby housewarming for David and Katie at their new place with some of their new renovations, and then I caught up with some of my Mizzou crew here in Atlanta, Knip, Taylor Marie, and Ray Ray. And then we both shot the hooch on Sunday.
Yeah, that was a pretty crazy day. You know, I'd gone to a party the day before, so like, you know, when you like wake up the next day and you're just kind of like still a little hungover, but we're gonna go on the river, you know what I'm saying? And
yeah, at least I was driving you, so
yeah, and that was thank you for that. We did survive that car with our seatbelts that we put on. When you told us, you kept talking about killing us or something like that in the car.
I did not say that. I said that I have succumbed to the fact that if I were to die anywhere in Atlanta, it would be on the highway. But just me alone.
You don't say that to people when you're driving them in a car.
No, I also made it clear that like I care more about other people's lives while I'm in the car than my own. So like you guys would always be safe.
Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, we went up there and it was so fun. You know, you fell into the river right
I did fall in because everyone else got in, like we all kind of got in the wrong way. I know.
Well, yeah.
It was.
Yeah, me and you probably got it the worst, actually. Future Bachelor got it the worst because you fell in right away. The only person to fall in the tube right off this bat. But then I got my tube taken for the cooler tube, which there was another tube that was supposed to hold the cooler that was a little less deflated. So I'm sitting here in a deflated tube the whole time, like floating down a river. No one can even see me because I'm below, like, your guys' eye level of the tubes.
The tube level.
But then it rained. And then it rained for like a good like 10 minutes, and that was like the most miserable thing I've ever been through in my life. You guys have no
like
idea.
a drizzle.
It was the most beautiful day. It was warm. We're getting a tan, drinking, floating down the river. It's beautiful. And then out of nowhere, it just starts raining, and we were just unprepared. It was freezing cold. I'm shivering. We're all like just like straight up screaming like, I want to die. And I meant it. And yeah, so it was a crazy day.
It was a torrential downpour too. Like this wasn't just like we weren't being babies. This wasn't just like a little bit of this was like hard rain,
freezing
like,
rain. It turned everything like, ice cold. Yeah, no, it was miserable. I want to do it again though. Just I'll never go back if there's even a 1% chance of rain. I'll tell you that. But yeah, anyways, well, we might as well, move away from the lake, and it might sound like V's car, but it's actually a trip to Quick Hits.
Whatever. Okay.
Whatever. What do we got for some Quick Hits, V?
All right, so,
She goes, whatever.
We're living in the age where now everybody's starting to go back and be like, should we change some things up?
Yeah.
And Aunt Jemima said, yeah, maybe we should. And same with Uncle Ben's rice and beans and Mrs. Butterworth's syrup, all using imagery of, Black women, Black men that are, commonly from slavery.
Yeah.
So like, Aunt Jemima.
I love when one thing starts to get canceled and then like Twitter will like always announce like we're coming for you next, Uncle Ben, or like we see you, we see you, cream of wheat, or some shit. So they're like already like coming at the people, and it's like a warning sign for those companies. It's like, yo, you see that Aunt Jemima's getting lit up right now. You might as well get ahead of it by just announcing it right now. But I think that's like legit what companies and brands have to start doing is like, it's just like we were talking about last week's episode, just admitting you're wrong and moving forward as much as you possibly can. Yes, it looks bad. You look like you're just like awakening right now.
I know. Well, it's like, yeah, these names and these like images are like have been. It's not like it's new. Like, oh, these are just racist now.
I mean,
like,
yeah,
it's
been,
racist.
and it seemed super. It's super racist, and also like I think it was like Carrie Hilson or something like that. But it's like it's so funny that like people are acting like Black people just came out, like the new iPhone or something like that.
Yeah.
They're acting like it's just like a new thing that came out or something.
Like, oh shit, what?
Yeah. So yeah, good for them. I mean, essentially they're gonna still have these products. I think they're just like rebrand them to being something.
They're rebranding them. They're gonna have to like rename them. Like the aunt and uncle thing are just like legit like like slavery based names. Those were like for like older slaves. That's like what you would call them. Like the good ones, I got to go inside the house and stuff like that, and like got to be around the kids and things like that. So it's all fucked up. Interesting, because like those are under like major food brands like PepsiCo, Quaker Oats, like own those different like foods and stuff. So like these are like, so then they're like, we're looking at our full portfolio to make sure like
I even saw like the Band-Aid brand, like they're now officially doing like every skin color tone for their Band-Aids. So it's
like other brands have already done that. Like there's been specific like Black owned businesses that had like Black colored Band-Aids and stuff already. It's like, thanks, Band-Aid.
Yeah. It is kind of crazy. But anyways, what else we got? This was actually this next one was actually going to be my yikes moment of the week because it's just like yikes. But yeah, go because of everything changing right now, even bands are looking at, especially when it comes to country, a lot of the culture of country music comes from being in the South and like Confederate ways and stuff and things that like you never really thought were like, you just have to do your research on a lot of stuff. Things that we've like inundated into culture just to be like normal is actually comes from straight racist stuff. And these groups in country music are now getting their names looked at because it stems from that. Lady Antebellum, huge group, Grammy Award winning group, ended up abruptly changing their name to Lady A. The yikes moment part of it, not just because like, they probably knew it was pretty racist the whole time. Their excuse
Antebellum is like based on the slavery time and like when people owned slaves and like the white hierarchy and things
they
like that.
say that their antebellum was like the style of house that they like founded their band in or something
but
like that.
that's like based on that time that the slaves were that's like a plantation house.
Yeah, it actually reminds me, I was watching this I'm like really into John Oliver right now because I think he does such a great job of just like blatantly like letting you know what it is like, and it's just the truth. But it was like this clip of like this Confederate guy like, you know, defending his like a statue or something like that getting knocked down, saying that like my grandparents fought like or like in the, you know, in the Civil War for this farm, for our family's farm, and like this black guy is like, who do you think worked that farm?
Yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying?
Literally though.
Yeah, so people are like, and now they're even talking about, well, the thing about Lady Antebellum is they changed her name to Lady A, but there's actually like a soul blues singer or like or something like that. Black woman who's already goes by Lady A. So ironically, like that even kind of made situations a little worse. It's like you are abruptly changing your name for the, you know, the climate we're in, but just to take it from like a woman that's already established herself as Lady A. You know, granted, you know, the most of the comments I see like underneath any like story about Lady Antebellum, they're like, their fans call them Lady A, like blah blah blah. Like it doesn't matter what anyone calls them. Like it is what it is. I guess they came to the conclusion that they're both going. There's enough room in this world for two different Lady A's. But I still think it's kind of whack. You know.
It is. I agree.
And now they're also talking about going after the Dixie Chicks. You know, the word Dixie, it has, you know, relations to Confederacy as well, I believe. And but they're saying that, well, I think the origins of the Dixie Chicks name is that it's based off of another like song called the Dixie Chicken, yeah, and that's where they ended up getting their name from. But Dixie Chicken, whether or not, it might be still related to Confederacy.
Just like the Southern tradition of like white supremacy and things like that, which like Mason, Dixon, Lime, it has all those ties. But it's interesting because like the Dixie Chicks are like have always been known to be like one of the most progressive country groups. I mean, like remember,
always,
like
and outspoken, they are very outspoken about their political stances, and even to the point where they get in trouble, like.
Yeah, they said the whole thing about like how they were like, you know, they were upset that George Bush was from Texas at one of their things, which then led to like a whole like pretty much like that was like before cancel culture was cancel culture, but it like turned into like people like losing their minds and like backing like, you know, monster trucks over their CDs and being all like, fuck the Dixie Chicks.
I remember.
So crazy stuff.
Yeah, we're going to continue to see a lot more of this fallout. Like it's affecting everything. All of our shows, writers, anything, like, you know what I'm saying? Like everything is going to be affected by this music. I'm interested to see what more happens. Our world is changing, V. It's crazy. What else we got?
So, you know, quarantine has been rough on a lot of relationships, and another one that took a fall was Kelly Clarkson and her husband. She filed for divorce, saying that quarantine has been like a lot, kind of like compiling of different issues within their family, and how she like was, you know, running the show kind of deal, and, you know, was stretched a little too thin. So it's sad. It's always sad to see just like another one bites the dust. Like I feel like my one friend and I literally will send each other back and forth like different articles of like couples that have broken up during this like 3-month period, and it's like, damn, like this is really testing people. Like this is nuts.
Just like it's. I think we're if anything, like this is like we're calling it a cultural reset, but it's like a legit reset. Like let's change up the way we were doing things before. Like, you know, we don't have to live this way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's ways of like being happy. If they're figuring out like, you know, that they're probably not good together. You know, I'm actually curious about Kelly Clarkson because she had that whole show and then everything went like to shit here. Are they still doing her show?
I'm pretty sure she still has it. I mean, I'll be honest, the last time I ever saw it was when we both still worked in our office, and because
it was just getting off the ground too. But I wonder if all that stuff has anything to do with it. But what else we got?
So Amanda Bynes, who I feel like we haven't heard much from because she kind of like went away after like being like so controversial and like off her shit for like years and like calling out Drake and whatever. Whatever. She like kind of like took a step back, started taking care of herself again, was going to FITM, Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandise in California. And then she actually recently got sober. Like, I think she's been sober for about a year. And she just, like, at the beginning of quarantine, got engaged. But now she's, like, back in rehab for, like, a different stress and mental health issues. So it's like, damn, like, she was like, on such an upward trajectory. And then it's, like, kind of sad to see. I don't know.
Yeah,
This is like child star syndrome for sure.
Yeah, I mean, once it's just really hard. Like, you know, I'm seeing things around me and stuff, and just once people get stuck in certain ways, it's so hard to get out. You know, addictions and the way society, you know, depression. I'm sure she's probably, it's hard too. Like, you know, if someone that goes away for so long tries to come out in the public eye or wants to be seen, it's just probably you feel like you're always being criticized and stuff. It's got to be a lot. So, hopefully, she'll be all right. And continue to get some help. What else we got? Well, last week we did talk about Vanderpump Rules, you know, about as far as, Stassi and Kristen and a couple other cast members getting fired from the show. Over the week, actually, I watched the challenge. They had some controversy with this Asian girl from Australia named Dee, and like MTV officially like cut ties with her. She's on the latest season of the challenge, which I'm watching right now. But yeah, they're going like the challenge itself, like, you know, a show like the challenge, a show like Vanderpump Rules, they thrive off of drama, and over the years the controversy has been like, you know, ratings hit. But now in the current climate, when you kind of look at this stuff in scope, over the years the challenge has been around for like a couple decades now. And there's been some real problematic, I'm like looking into the history of all that stuff, but there's some pretty problematic stuff inside of the challenge, and there's also some problematic stuff inside of shows like Vanderpump Rules. What's it called right now? Jax is the next one that's under fire for, I mean, he hasn't been officially fired right now, but there's definitely been some. I was reading an article about him talking about, like, just one example was like him talking about like black people's noses, or something like that, or Jewish people, and then he brought up like he's like he couldn't understand why he couldn't talk about like a racist thing, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he couldn't even like process it as being like racist. He's like,
what do you mean? Yeah, this is all going on. I guess he was like in business with Lance Bass of NSYNC.
Yeah, so like they have their business. It's for like drink mixes, and it's called like Just Add X. And honestly, like Lance Bass was like, you know, like I don't think like he's an inherently like homophobic, because he's also said like supposedly he's like said some transphobic and other things like that. And like Lance Bass was like, I didn't think he was like, you know, inherently a bad person. I also thought like us starting this business together was gonna be, you know, a step in the right direction, kind of like a new Jax. But then like this past season of Vanderpump Rules, he's like, I just saw, like Lance Bass said, like I just saw him like starting to spew the same shit again. And he's like, and I just worry for him that, you know, shit just hasn't changed. And so I guess he's like kind of like severed ties like with their company.
Lance Bass was going at everybody. He was going at Andy Cohen. He was going at like pretty much.
I didn't know that.
So it's interesting right now because people are really trying to distance themselves from anything that is going to get them like canceled or be the next one up right now. And a lot of people have skeletons in their closet, especially someone like Jax. He's super toxic. I mean, you could see like from the beginning, the way he would just cheat on Stassi and stuff. But speaking of Stassi, apparently she's pregnant.
Yeah, she's pregnant. She like literally days after being fired, she announced it was announced that she was pregnant with her fiance Beau. She confirmed it.
That's yeah, that sucks for her, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure that could have been like a whole a whole storyline and shit on the show and stuff, and now she's fired from it. So
Yeah.
well, that's all we got in Vanderpump Rules news. What else we got?
So we brought this up before, that we had seen Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly like driving around together, but now they are officially boyfriend and girlfriend. Like they both have like come out saying it. I think like Machine Gun Kelly's like been like kind of saying like how he's in love and all this stuff like on his social media. They're the real deal now. They've been spotted, you know, kissing and stuff in public, holding hands. I didn't realize she was like fully divorced.
What did you say?
I didn't realize that she was fully divorced from her husband. I didn't know that.
Brian Austin Green of 90210 fame.
Yes.
What's it called? Megan Fox is so hot. Machine Gun Kelly's like crazy lucky. What the hell?
I know, but like he's also like he's like kind of that weird looking.
I just can't believe that he's like been able to like really turn his career around and become like a, you know, like a. Would you think he's hot?
I'm like kind of into it.
Yeah, you would. Now that Megan Fox
At first
is
I
into
never
it.
got it, but also like a very similar. He's like on the same thread of like he's like the G-Eazy's and like the Pete Davidsons, where it's like they look like kind of sick. And like there's something weird about it, like they're like there's like something like I don't know, he's got like just that bad boy appeal.
To me it's just like white boys wanting to be black. Like that's like what it is to me.
And like he's like trying to like he wants to be like just like he like wants to be punk too. Like I feel like he's just like all over the place.
Yeah, I think
know.
right now he's trying to do like the Post Malone thing. Like he's trying to be like a Post Malone, like and sing now and not so much rap. I don't think we'll hear Machine Gun Kelly rap anymore. He's more of like a punk artist now, like you know doing songs like Blink-182 type stuff and all that stuff. I mean he's like essentially probably the same age as me, so we grew up on the same.
He's
music.
30, yeah.
But speaking of Pete Davidson, I put on his movie last night. I fell asleep, but it's because it's a really friggin' long movie. It's like over 2 hours, but it was pretty funny. Like what I thought. Like I mean, I
need to watch it. I actually one of my podcasts that I listen to, Pop Culture Happy Hour, they did this episode for of this week. They talked about it, and they all had mixed feelings on it. They're like, you know, it's good. But
I mean,
like,
it's not one that you're always gonna remember. It's not like
it's
not like Super Bad or like Knocked Up where you're like repeating all the lines from it. I feel like.
Oh no, yeah, no.
Yet they tried to make it along the same lines of that. So, but it's pretty good. I recommend it as a watch. I'm still gonna continue to watch it because I still have like an hour.
Yeah,
and
you
a
gotta
half
finish
of it
it because you passed out.
Yeah, but what made you go yikes this week, Veronica? Like something that was like, like I know there's a lot of things that made you go yikes this week, but what's one thing we could tell her? What's one thing we could tell our listeners that made you go?
Up your little.
I know. I really do. It's like asking people. I'm done asking people how they're doing because
how they're doing. I know. Yeah.
Can we just have like yeah? But yeah, what made you go yikes?
All right. So Chris D'Elia, how do you say his last name?
D'Elia.
D'Elia. Okay. Chris D'Elia. This woman named Simone Rossi went to Twitter and shared some screenshots of supposed emails between her and Chris. And they were from when she was supposedly 16. And then a couple of other women stepped up saying, you know, that they had similar experiences with him of like kind of pedophilia, him like, you know.
But is it pedophilia? Because does he know their age?
So that's what he said, that he, you know, didn't know their age.
Yeah. I mean, I could completely see it. These girls are like, they look like they're like at least, you know, 20 something, like, but they're going to be 16 and you're just talking to them over text. Like maybe before you like solicit a picture from them, you should probably find out a person's age.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like, he was
Yeah.
like kind of like asking for like that, for some of that kind of stuff, or like they were saying he was asking for some of that kind of stuff. I think I went yikes, especially because like if you've watched this season, the most recent season of You, spoiler alert, in that show he like kind of plays like, you know, a different version of himself where he is like a pedophile and has like, you know, has collections of photos of underage girls and things like that. And I was like,
He's a
wow,
comedian?
damn.
He's a comedian in the show?
Yeah, like he's like an actor, comedian in the show.
Oh my god, that's horrible. Yeah, and Chris has been kind of quiet on Instagram. Usually he's screaming and doing stupid shit. It's like so funny to watch these people get under fire and then like go see like Hannah Brown when like, you know, her shit came out. I was like, every day it was like my whole like my Discover page was just stupid videos of this dumb girl that can't dance dancing in my screen. And then like, you know, she says the N-word and it's just now it's just like racial stuff. She's only like posting like, you know, I'm just like, wow, girl, you are whack. But yeah, anyways, Chris D'Elia is one of those people that like, you know, as comedians and has a podcast, always has an opinion on, and he's harsh on things. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he thinks for some reason he's like the coolest dude ever. So anytime anyone does something like slightly off, he'll fucking crack on you for being like so whack and stuff. So, I'm sure he'll. I mean, what I read of like the like whatever accusations, it doesn't even seem that bad. Like if he's like, send me a pic, and she sends him a picture of a koala, and he's like, haha, like koala, that's funny, and she's like, yeah, I thought I wanted to send you something pretty exotic or something like that.
Yeah.
So like, you know, if that's like the worst of it, like, you know.
Well, it's just, I mean, like it's like and he said like, you know, that, yeah, you know, he got caught up in the lifestyle, which I think, you know, this just like always speaks to a larger issue of like men preying on women kind of deal that, you know,
I don't know, but I mean, is it preying on women when they're just offering themselves up at you? Like just because you're famous? Like he's known as like the good looking comedian, like, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you get caught up like where you just like can like, a girl is like messaging you because you're famous and you can just see like pictures of her if she sends it to you if you just, as long as you ask. Like I think that's what he means about getting caught up. I don't think he's like preying on people.
I mean, I think it is like, I mean, like he was the one asking for pics. So
yeah, but like how many guys have asked you for a pic? Would you consider them
it depends
predators?
on when they're asking. Like if they're asking if like in a way that like if we're like, you know, I don't know, flirting or whatever, then that's different. But like if you're just coming at, you know.
See, I never do the pictures thing. Are you a pictures person?
It depends on how I'm feeling.
Okay.
Well, I usually don't. I don't really ask. Usually it's more for me than anything. Like I don't ask people for pictures ever, but sometimes, you know.
I don't know.
Honestly, if someone asks
I just
me
know
for
that there's a lot of
pictures,
guys
I'm usually not gonna give them to them because I'm like, I don't like to be asked.
I feel you, but like I feel like a lot of guys like ask for pictures and stuff like that. Like, hey, can I see a picture? Or send pictures thinking they're gonna get a picture.
Yeah, and that never works. That really does nothing.
Well, let's get into a little mini topic.
Mini main.
You know, I wrote this down over the last week as an idea, but, you know, I thought, you know, why don't we talk about awkward stages?
Stages.
Yeah, like, you know, the awkward stage or something. And I'm not even saying like awkward stage. It could be, we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different awkward stages. For starters, why don't we talk about the awkward, like I've always wanted to grow my hair. No, I've always wanted to grow my hair out long.
Yeah.
But I can never get it past the awkward stage. Like, you know what I'm saying? That one stage where you could probably relate, where you're just like, ugh. Like I want it to get long, but like I have to look like this like Ronald McDonald for like, you know, the next for the next couple months. I gotta rock this hat. Like, dude, to grow out your hair long, that shit takes a long time, like a year.
Yeah, I know. I'm doing it right now, and I think
it looks good.
Thank you. I'm currently in an awkward stage for my hair.
Okay, well, let's talk about it. How does it make you feel?
I still get a lot of compliments on my hair, so like that's nice.
Yeah.
But it does, like, I feel like for this, it makes me be like, do I regret? Am I gonna just like schedule an appointment in a couple of weeks to just be like, forget it, cut it back,
and all that work and time, it's just like goes, and then you're just like, ah. But that's the thing, though. Like you're like,
the battle.
If the battle is like, am I missing out on love right now because I look hideous, or not saying you, but like, you know, the awkward
Yeah,
stage.
it's like, damn.
But you know what I'm saying, the awkward stage. When you feel like you're in the awkward stage, you're like, what if I just cut my hair like I always do and just, you know, but the awkward stage is uncomfortable. But sometimes to get to the change that you want to get to, it's necessary. Would you agree?
Yeah. I agree. Wow. I'm okay. Now thinking about your hair specifically, I know you're trying to use that to be like a segue into something deeper, which we'll get to. But like, I'm thinking about your hair specifically. And when we first started this podcast, your hair was like big.
Yeah.
It was long. You bouffanted it up, and it was like
Bouffanted? What is that word?
a bouffant is actually more of like a woman's hairstyle where it was like up. But
I've heard like very coiffed. Like it was coiffed.
it was coiffed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's interesting that you brought up your hair because it's been very short.
Yeah,
for the last
I just
year.
I don't know. It's weird. Like, you know, it was funny because I was listening to Nick Viall's podcast. They had Brett Vergara of the Bachelor Diversity campaign that we had on this past week, but they were talking about like like Nick's looks over the years and stuff like that, and it made me think about, like, he was like, I don't know why I did that. I have no idea why I even wore this, like why I wore my hair like this. And it just makes us think, it's like, why do we make the choices we make? That's the funniest thing about like looking back at yourself. You're like, the whole time you thought you were looking good, but like, do we always just look bad? Like, you know.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I was like I think like my hair, especially, like I had longer-ish hair and then I cut it into a bob and then I grew it back out and then I cut it into my short hair.
Yeah.
Which I loved cutting my hair, and I feel like
I like the freshness of a new cut, but like, you know what I'm saying, there's something about like having. But let's transition a little bit. Let's talk a little bit more about like maybe growing up, the awkward stages of growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a stage. What would you say like your first awkward stage of growing up would be?
I mean, I feel like, honestly, these days, like these kids, like these teens don't go through like the same awkward stages that we did, like of like looking just kind of weird. Mm-hmm. They all look like these teens. First of all, they all know how to do makeup way better than I ever did at that age. And like, I feel like they're missing out on the important. I feel like the awkward stages of like being like a middle schooler or whatever, and you look kind of weird, you're kind of gangly, and you like might have acne or whatever.
Yeah,
and
maybe do kids even wear braces anymore? They're just like born with perfect
do they
teeth.
all have Invisalign? Like, yeah. What's going on?
Yeah, is there like a shot they give them when they're a baby and they just have?
Yeah, or like, are they rich and their parents get them veneers? Like, yeah. I don't know, but.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel like they have like LASIK at age 1 now, so.
I know. Well, and do you remember when like you thought it was going to be cool to get like glasses or braces? I remember like.
Yeah, I remember. Actually, I don't remember that for myself, but I remember it for my sister. Like, I remember my sister being like, I like so excited about getting braces, but then you get the braces and you're like, wow, what was I excited about? Like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it was almost cool for, like, when people had retainers because they could have, like, cool cases to put the I don't know. It's, like, all about
bands,
the accessories.
Like, your rubber bands in your braces. Like, you're like...
Yeah, like, colored ones. Yeah. And so then I feel like... Or, like, the glasses thing. Like, but, you know, I look really cute in glasses. So, like, I stand by that one.
Well, the awkward stage is meant for you to, like, figure yourself out. Like, you know, figure out, like, what you like, what people like. Like, you know what I'm saying? You... Like, that's the thing of the awkward stage of growing up is, like, you'll put on, like, this shirt and you'll be like... And then you like it, but then like for some reason you go to school and you get just like lit up with like roast and stuff, and everyone's just like, you know, that shirt is ugly. Then you realize you're like, I still like this shirt, or I hate this shirt. Like, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's the awkward time.
I wore a lot of, you know, questionable things. Like, I wore what were called arm socks, and they were like the little like things that and I would make them too out of like old socks and tights and stuff.
Yeah, I used to do stuff like that. I used to wear a belt as like a tie. Or a tie as a
A
belt.
tie as a belt.
Like some
I did
Avril
that
Lavigne.
too.
Yeah,
I
that
did
was
that
like some
too.
Sum 41 Avril
And
Lavigne shit.
I used to wear ties all the time.
Yeah, me too. Just,
Ties over like maybe like full Avril Lavigne, ties over like a tank top, or like I had like these cute little like layered shirts that like had like the fake collar.
I had a ring on every finger.
That's
And
excessive.
I'd wear I was wearing like 3 chains, like 3 chains.
2 chains, but I got more on.
Yeah. So, well, now we talk about like, the weird awkward puppy phases. Why don't we talk about the awkward stages in society right now that companies are going through? Let's get a little deeper. Because right now these companies are going through some awkward stages. Like we talked about like Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben. This is and this comes up, like I was telling you, I think before the show, I was talking to one of our special guests we've had on the show before, Solomon, and we were talking about the new Bachelor being black and stuff, and I was just explaining to him that like I think like all these things have to go through an awkward stage, like an awkward stage of admitting that they're they haven't been inclusive about things, and an awkward stage of making it look like you're only doing it because of it, and maybe you are, like, what I'm saying, but like you have to, like, otherwise there won't be a company, or the people will not support things. So like you have to make a change, not just because of like the times, but like because of the times, like everything has to change now.
Like for your life, I guess, like for businesses, for their livelihood in some senses dependent.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I feel like the wool has been taken off of everyone's eyes, and now they're just seeing everything as racist. So, like we said last week when the diversity campaign was on the show, like they said, we have to admit you're wrong, and then try to move forward and fix, like, your mistakes. Try to, at least. You gotta start somewhere. And people, because it's a rock and a hard place. Like companies don't want to make changes to make it look like,
they're just making changes to make changes.
Yeah, but you got to start somewhere. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you don't want to be one of the last people to do it. Like you don't want to you don't want to be like only doing it because like you're the last one, and because very easily these companies could have been like, Aunt Jemima, it's just the brand now, like, you know what I'm saying, but like but no, it's not I think like they even try to like,
come on,
they tried to like make it less like out throughout the years. Like I think they gave her like a perm and stuff like that.
Oh
like,
my god,
like
which
she's
doesn't
not wearing like the rag on her head anymore or anything like that, like the handkerchief or whatever. But I think these awkward stages are necessary. I think it's important for us to recognize this time. Like legit, this is a history we're talking about right now. Just like when we talk about the statues, like all these statues coming down that are put up, like, and people defend them saying it's part of history. They're like, we can't just erase history. That's like the argument that everyone says. But like these statues are not the way we hold history. We do it through books, like, what I'm saying?
Yeah, and also like we've erased, by having those statues, we've erased other larger parts of history by like glorifying specific areas, like glorifying fucking Christopher Columbus. He was a rapist and like just in general bad.
Yeah.
Like we're like, oh, but this is history. Like, okay.
Well, also
cool.
like those
what about all the
statues
black people that have done stuff?
Right.
Like,
Exactly. Like there's definitely better people to be celebrating in statue form, and especially these statues. Like they were not put up in remembrance of these people like right away. Most of them were put up like decades later. Like I think like the spike of most of these statues, like these racist statues, came like I think in like the 1920s when like the Civil War stuff was happening, and then like also in the 1950s when like
1920s is long after, like it was like long after like even like the Civil War that they were.
I mean like between like the 1900s and 1920s, and then like the 1950s when like we're trying to get rid of segregation and all that different stuff, like
Yeah.
and that whole movement. That's when they started putting up more racist statues, like to scare black people. So it's
Yeah.
like these things need to come down, and I feel like this is our moment. Like this moment right here is a moment where we're going to take down the statues, because this is a time where people are just being awoken to like what's going on in the world. It is crazy, and it's sad to be. I don't want to just sit here and just like hate on, like, be like, I'm so surprised, like people are just now understanding this now. It's like, because I'm just happy it's happening now. And it's pretty crazy that it's happening in my time. I'm going to be able to look back and tell like my kids and my grandkids and all this stuff, like, we were part of like on the right side of history, I feel like. So,
Yeah.
But, so now we talked about current times. Why don't we talk about the awkward stages in relationships? What would you say like an awkward stage is? Like, is there multiple?
I feel like, especially in the world we live in now, like that talking stage where you like are both like texting and maybe you like hang out sometimes, or like, but like it's not really like said like that those are dates or like whatever. That's like a major awkward phase.
Yeah, it is.
I feel like we both know what we're talking about.
Yeah. But I don't know though. Like, how do you fix an awkward stage? Like my thing with an awkward stage is like, okay, you like someone in that stage you're talking about, but like then there's no conversation about like whatever, and then it's like, are you supposed to like? Can you talk to other people? Like can you talk to other people in front of them?
I know it's weird. So like, I feel like for me in my, like in situations that I'm more referring to, I feel like it's always like to either get out of the awkward stage. And I feel like it continues to be awkward because like people fear rejection. And so like to get out of it, you sometimes kind of have to just like buck up and like lay your cards out on the table. So instead of like forever sitting in that like in between, you are like, okay, like, I'm really trying to like hang out with you because I'm interested or whatever like the situation may be. And then like how they respond to that will tell you. And then like you can, that's like a very similar, like, ripping the Band-Aid off kind of situation where it's like, okay, like you gotta do it. It might hurt, but
yeah,
then you'll
but
know.
Also, I don't know. That's rough, man, because like you just I don't know. You could just ruin it all.
I know, that's the hard part.
Just all that work you did, just ruin it all. Oh man, it's not worth it. I honestly,
It's not worth it.
Yeah, no, I'll say the awkward
Forget
stage.
it though.
Yeah.
Don't actually, move and progress along. Be like us and just sit in the awkwardness until you're forced to move.
What is it though? Like, why do some people seem like they're like better at getting to that like relationship stage than others? I guess I'm horrible at getting at the relationship stage.
I feel like for me, sometimes I feel like it depends on the person or the situation or whatever. Like, I feel like right now, especially, it's weird because like, stuff is like opening up, but whatever, but like, it's still like kind of hard to like date. And I feel like in other situations, it would have been way easier for me to be like, yeah, like we're hanging out. Yeah, we're doing this. And then you can easily progress it. But right now it's kind of like everyone's like up in the air and there's just like so much going on. It's like, how do we get all that together? And I feel like it also depends on like how much you might actually really like the person. Like, I feel like usually it's harder if you like really like someone because like you're like a lot is on the line. Like, like
actually
you don't wanna mess it up.
me and PG were talking about this the other day because we talk about our lives a lot, but but yeah, I mean, I was kind of talking about this with him, and he's like, well, how like you're saying like some people are just really good at relationships. He's like, I think maybe we're just like really good at being single, and like you're either like good at one or the other, really, right? Like
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know.
Maybe like just think about it.
I
Though.
think
The
you
people
should
in the
be able to be
relationships
good at
the people
both.
in the relationships would probably think that they're good in a relationship or something like that, but be like, when they were single, they were probably not that great at being single. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like, I don't know. Like to me, it's like like you said, it's a matter of situation. Sometimes like the stars align for people, like the really happy ones, where they had the perfect amount of time coming out of a relationship, or they've had the perfect amount of time being single, or this person's life is like at the right stage for the stage I just hit in my life, and like you just like everything just lines up. I think that's like a huge part of relationships. But I also think like we're just really good at talking to girls, you know what I'm saying, going out and being friends with girls now and stuff, like that type of stuff.
No.
And some people are just not that good at that, and they'd rather be in a relationship than be like, I just find myself like wanting to be able to settle down with someone, but also like it's hard. Like it's like I said, that awkward stage where you like someone, you go out with them, but like it's not a thing. But it's like, are you just not gonna like talk to other girls because you don't know what's happened with this one, or
Yeah, I mean, like, and that's
and
where
then
it
they
gets.
might be talking to other guys, so it's like, all right, well, fuck, like.
Yeah, so that's where it gets complicated because, like, obviously, like, yeah, you don't want to completely put yourself on hold or whatever, but that's why I guess, like, you have to, like, try to really cut through the awkward stuff to, like, figure it out, which is the hard part because it's, like, because you don't want to, yeah, it's, like, I feel like it's hard to be, like, juggling so many different things because then you never really know. It's almost like you're being, like, the jack of all trades but, like, master of none in some senses because it's, like, okay, like, I'm trying to be whatever, but then it's like I'm not actually good with any of these people then, or like whatever. I'm like actually not making moves really.
Really? Yeah. That's how I feel. I was like, I thought I was making moves, but I'm still in the same place. So yeah. Oh man. Well,
I guess if anybody has advice for us, help us out.
Yeah, like if you got a podcast we can listen to, because our podcast is hurting right now. We got no advice. No, but I mean, this is what it is. Sometimes you don't got advice. Sometimes we got questions too. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, I mean, and like I feel like my own, or sometimes like
You
I
don't
know
got all
like
the answers, Sway.
I mean, I feel like my own advice that I need to like follow is like literally just like fucking do it, like just fucking say it, lay it out, and I'm like, but I don't want to.
Is there another awkward stage of a relationship?
I feel like
when you're meeting family.
I feel like that can be awkward. I feel like it's like, yeah, whenever making like those steps from like moving past like the honeymoon phase to being like, oh, like this is legit phase almost, because I feel like honeymoon phase is not awkward because like you're just obsessed with each other.
It's that new relationship energy.
Yes, that new relationship energy. And then once you move past that, I feel like it can get awkward because like you might start recognizing things that maybe irritate you more in your partner, or you might you might be having to start having conversations to be like, am I invited to this wedding with you?
Ooh,
or whatever. Not better.
Oh, damn. That one seemed real. Well, what about the awkward stage of like when it's over, but you guys are still together?
Yeah.
That's awkward.
I mean, yeah, it's like awkward when it's like, I feel like I've heard this from other podcasts. I've like believed this myself, but like whoever's like, the one that's going to end it always knows like at least 2 weeks ahead of time that that's like their feeling. And I feel like that's like that awkward stage is like when one person is like ready for it to end, but like it hasn't done that deed yet. And the other person doesn't feel that way or maybe is just starting to get hints of that.
Yeah, or just oblivious to it or blocking it out.
Yeah.
Well, what about the final awkward stage? Well, actually, there might be 2 more final awkward stages, but I like how we're going through these awkward stages of a relationship now. But there's the awkward stage of breaking up and then like hooking up for a little while, right? And not like, and every time you do it, you're like, what does this mean?
Yeah. Which is like something I usually don't do, but have succumbed to in the past. But usually not my vibe. Usually I very much so cut ties. But yeah, I feel like that's awkward, and that's like literally just like self torture. Like it's like not even, it's more than awkward. It's just like, I'm just gonna let myself like keep feeling hurt. Like I'm just gonna keep twisting my own knife in my heart, like, because it's like, because shit will feel nice, and then it's awkward because it's like everything feels the same, and then you'll go to like not talking to that person for like weeks at end, and then they'll be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, this will be my final awkward stage, is like where you guys like text, but it's not okay to see each other, and then you block her.
Or they block you, or whatever.
Yeah, or the other way around. But yeah, that's pretty awkward, because now it's like, wait a second, is he getting my text or is she getting my text?
Yeah, no.
Why am I on green?
Yeah, yikes. Yeah. We've both been there.
Yeah. So yeah, that was an awkward ending to.
No, but as I was about to tie it up in a nice little awkward bow.
I wanted to make it awkward, though. That was my way of tying it up.
I always say, I lean into awkward because, like, you know, awkward usually is going to push you to growth or change in some sort of way. Like in our society, shit's going to be awkward, but it's pushing us to like the right shit to do. In a relationship, could be pushing you either, you know, out of it because that's probably the right thing then, or into it better, or whatever. And so like lean in. Lean into the awkward.
I think we did find some advice to give, and I think that's a great way to put a bow on it, because for sure, we had said earlier in the show, like, change it whether or not, like, we're afraid of maybe losing that person by having a conversation or whatever, but like, this is life, man. Like, maybe that person is not supposed to like be like,
in your life,
or
yeah.
like this version in your life, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so I definitely recommend pushing through the awkward stages to find an end, or at least a means. So anyways, why don't we get into our slapper of the week?
No, we have Bachelor follow-up stuff.
Yeah, we do. I forget. I thought, yeah. Anyways, what do we got for some Bachelor follow-ups?
All right, so we already sort of said it before. Yeah. But Matt James was named the Bachelor for the upcoming season, the 25th season.
Yeah, let's give him a round of applause. We'll give him a round of applause because...
First Black Bachelor.
You know, because that's huge. And it kind of was crazy because it happened a day after our podcast went out. So it's like, we're talking about all this change.
Wow, it's back on our future Bachelor predictions.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, explain what happened.
So, I mean, not much else to say than ABC announced that it's him. But also, like, Claire Crowley, he was supposed to be on, so he's besties with Tyler Cameron. Him and Tyler Cameron have their little nonprofit ABC Food Tours show that helps like bring programs and things to underserved youth in like the New York area. And actually, he had been shaded by Claire Crowley because he was supposed to be on Claire Crowley's season, which who knows when that will be, because he had a cameo that he was doing for like fundraising for things and had done interviews because like for his show. And so she's like, if you're doing this, then you're not here for the like right reasons, which she then went back to say that it wasn't just about him. But she also like had some shit to say because she wasn't informed that he was going to be named the next Bachelor until, you know, the news came out to everybody. And so she was like a little butthurt about that.
I think Claire is like on a high horse right now or whatever, but they don't have to tell her that, but I do think it's messed up that they were kind of playing with her in the sense that they probably had Matt James picked to be the next Bachelor the whole time. This is the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So the way the show
like
works,
for sure.
A plan. They've been planning people forever. Like, you know what I'm saying? We knew that. Like, obviously Kelly was a plan. I feel like, you know what I'm saying? It's all these people that are meant to be like, they think they're gonna make it far to be possibly the next Bachelor, Bachelorette. So he was supposed to go through Claire's season. That didn't end up happening. This whole like climate happened, and then they just like preemptively just announced him as the Black Bachelor, just like kind of being like, we will do better moving forward and all that stuff. And a lot.
I mean, they didn't. But that's the thing, is they still haven't come out to say anything yet, and that's like my biggest issue is like they haven't like fully addressed anything.
Yeah, I don't know if they need to though.
I think they do. I think they fully need to.
Well, I mean, when I say that they need to, like, will it affect like viewership if they don't?
Potentially, but I think like if they want to continue to like actually make the right changes to their programming, they need to like actually, and also like I think about all the people like, and this is like part of the like whole Bachelor diversity campaigns thing, like, they need to do better, like the amount of like actual racists that they've allowed on their show and given a platform for is like absurd. So like I think they kind of have to come out and say something like, hey, like,
yeah, I think they might just like move forward and just try
which
to do
like
better.
is the wrong move, but like,
well, I mean just addressing it, I don't know if there's like the right move or whatever, but I think they can make right moves in the show moving forward. Like, the casting for Matt James, I'm sure, is going to be very diverse. Now the thing is, like, I would hate for what I'm saying, like that they need to cast for people like me. Like what I'm saying, like I'm diverse and I also like diversity in women. Like I don't have a type.
Yeah.
Like I could talk to a white girl, I could talk to a Spanish girl, black girl, Asian girl, whatever it is. Like, what I'm saying, like all types of girls, I like them all. That's what they need to I think like, that was one of the things they were talking about last week in the campaign. It's like those are the type of people we need to cast because Matt James, is he like, and then he's just gonna pick a white girl. You know what I'm saying? It's like you want to see people that pick like all different types of like races and stuff. It's not just like a black and white thing. It's like everyone wants to be included here. So I think that's an important thing. And the cool part about it is that like they're going to be able to like cast a whole new cast of people for them. Like it's the first time like someone's actually been picked outside of the franchise like in a long time. So there's that. So we'll have to just see what ends up happening in the next couple months.
I mean, they still haven't like announced anything about when they're gonna film Claire's season. I mean, and they said, because filming for Matt's season probably would be like in November and stuff is usually when that is, but I don't know when they're gonna film Claire's season, so I don't know what that's even gonna look like.
Well, what else we got for some Bachelor news?
So then I've been watching the Greatest of All Time, that they've been doing, and this past week's was Caitlin Bristow's season, which first starts out with being her and Britt pitted against each other, which is always shit, but they really spiced it up with this one because they had her and Jason come on at the end and they told her that she was going to be on Dancing with the Stars. Like she was being cast to be on Dancing with the Stars, which this is a big deal for her. She had been offered this opportunity not long after her season and ended. And then Mike Fleiss, the executive producer, blocked her from being able to go on. And she's actually like a dancer. She used to like dance like professionally before becoming like a hairstylist and stuff. And now, a personality, whatever. But so like that was like a whole thing. She's like said it multiple times on her podcast how, her and Mike Fleiss have always butted heads about it and like how he doesn't really respect women and different things like, and that's like, tied to that decision. So like this was a big deal that she was finally offered the ability to go on. So that's interesting because like the only other Hannah Brown was the first Bachelorette since Trista Sutter, who's like one of the OG Bachelorettes. And then there's been
wasn't she like on the first season of Dancing with the Stars?
Yeah. So and there's been multiple bachelors or men from the franchise who have been on it, but only now the third woman from the franchise.
I think there was actually like one girl that was like a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader or something like that was on a Bachelor season like really early on. She came back as like a like an all-star or something like that. But yeah, so that's good for her. She'll definitely be on Dancing with the Stars now. So even Grocery Store Joe got a chance at that. So.
LOL.
All right. Well, I guess we can get into our slapper of the week now, right, Veronica?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Well, slapper of the week this week. I heard it. Is this on the radio? Like, what's?
Yeah, it's on the radio. It's popular. I feel like my friends like it a lot too. I don't know. Like, I feel like I've heard it a lot.
Yeah, I just heard it today for the first time, so I was like, let's go. So without further ado, why don't we just introduce our slapper of the week? It's Kings and Queens by Ava Max, and it's a slapper. Let's get it.
If all of the kings had their queens on the throne.
Yeah, slapper of the week, Kings and Queens by Ava Max. Yeah, we had to do that one. It reminds me a lot of this. You know what I'm saying?
Shot through the heart, and you're too late.
Hopefully that doesn't get us off of YouTube. But
If all of the kings had their queens on the throne, we would pop shit.
we have to show you where this shit comes from, though.
I know, and it makes sense because like I love both of those songs, and I've always been a big Bon Jovi fan.
Hell
so
yeah. Do you have any shout outs this week, V? Of course you do. We have them every week.
Yeah, we have to. I wanted to shout out my dad. It is Father's Day this weekend, so Father's Day to my daddy-o.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to shout out my friend Michaela. I shout her out a lot, but she's like really like kickstarting her Fit Life with Michaela personal training, and she's doing a free week right now. So definitely hit up her Instagram for that. And then I wanted to shout out my friend Melanie Myers, as she helped organize this awesome event with some of my fellow Mizzou alumni for us to talk about, the protests that happened at Mizzou, which we talked about here on this show with Alma, and how they relate to what's going on today.
Amazing. Well, I'll start my shout outs with some Daddy Day shout outs. Shout out to my pops, Thru, and also Victor for celebrating his first Father's Day.
Yeah, his first Father's
Yeah.
Day.
Quick shout out to baby Landon, Lava, I see you. What's it called? And also, I want to give a big birthday shout out to our friend, Chef Jean-Marc. That's my buddy. I love him. And his birthday is this weekend.
57 varieties.
Yeah, so I got to figure out what we're going to do and stuff, but I get to celebrate with him this weekend. He did it big for my birthday, so got to figure out how to do it big for his. And I'm like, I feel like I'm terrible with birthdays, but
because you only like your own.
Yeah, but who doesn't?
Yeah, my birthday is my favorite holiday.
Exactly. So. It's like you like Christmas, I like my birthday. So yeah, those are our shout outs this week. Yeah, I feel like we got a good we're getting back into like full steam, and hopefully maybe I get to see you next week in real life. Do you think that could happen?
Yeah, that could probably happen.
All right, cool. Well, hopefully it'll be a beautiful weekend. My friend Steven, Paul's brother, is moving to Atlanta this weekend.
Yeah, he's moving in. Shout out to him.
Yeah, let me shout him out. New AT Alien in the building, and all my friends are moving up to Atlanta from Orlando, so that's pretty cool. So we'll probably be doing a little showing them around, and we got Juneteenth off for our company now, which is nice.
We got
a 3-day weekend, so that's happening. Guys, that's been our show 117. Catch us next week at 118. I can't even believe
that's
we're saying
how
that.
numbers work.
That's how numbers work. But yeah, V, I love you. I love all you guys out there listening right now. I just love, and and we love you. This has been Future Bachelor. My name is Sai.
I'm Veronica.
And we'll see you next week, all right? Deuces!
Bye!
Future Bachelor Podcast.